Right folks, welcome back to the channel, and if you're new here, I'm Lee,
the evil wizard.
and in today's video it's part 2 of this mix week. On this video we're going to take a look at some grinding bass, so let's check this out. So today we're going to take a look at the bass. Now there's quite a number of things I've done different on this mix, which you'll see when we get down into the meat and potatoes of it.
Oh, I said, Mrs. Oh, I say.
Let's dive down into studio. I nearly said studio 1 then. We're still getting used to calling it Studio Pro. Let's dive down into Studio Pro and let's have a look how we got that grinding bass. So, as you can see, I have got 4 bass tracks here. Now, normally, I will only run 2. Every now and again, I have perhaps done a third and maybe a 4th. This time, I have done 4. And I think it's worked out quite well. So, this is how the bass sounds with all the processing on. And it's just the same DI juice across all 4. So this is the bass DI itself. Just a plain old bass DI. This is my main bass tone. As you can hear, it's quite distorted, it's quite grindy. So starting off with some compression just to even the bass out a bit, because I'm not a bass player, but I try and be as even as I can, but this just evens things out a touch. Following that, we've got the bone stager from Oracle Sound. I will do a video on this at some point, but it does sound quite good. So without that on, you just got a basic bass sound, but then with that on, now this is classed as a sort of a preamp pedal, if you will, the bass distortion pedal. You can use it with or without an amp same. In this mix, I'm using it without an amp same, and I like how it sounded. Just some EQ in there. You've seen me use this style of EQ before, just taking some nasty mid-range out, just boosting up the low end about 100 hertz, and then just boosting up some top end just to get that bit of clankiness out. So without that EQ on, and then after that I've got a second compressor on, using T-Rax compressor, which is a distressor style compressor. Just to level things out again. I've got the DFX sight on, but I'm not using it. I did try it out. It was a bit too much. I perhaps could have dialed it down a bit, but I'll show you. I felt it was a bit too much. Some scenario that would work, but for this one I didn't like what it was doing, especially with the other bass tracks. And then just using the Loud Max limiter just to even things out. And then we've got that same bass DI, and this is the second track. We've got a bit more, we've got a little bit of distortion here, a bit of top end distortion. So this is a technique that I saw, I'm going to butcher this name, Joe Wazerski use. It was just a short on his Facebook page. I thought, I like that. Let me try it out. I thought, that's a bit of a different technique I've not used before. Let me try it out on this mix. And then with that main bass tone, that's sounding good. So start off with, he uses a distressor style compressor just to even everything out, and then he uses the DFX Excite 2. You can hear without that, it's just basically a bit of a DI track with just a bit of EQ and compression on there. But with that on, and what I don't like about this this exciter is it's multi-band, and you can alter where they go, which is what I like. And you can have different settings, and these are the exact settings that Joe used. Tried it out, I liked it, cool, left it in. And then that's the similar sort of EQ, but we are boosting it a bit lower down. We'll be boosting it at 900 hertz, and then I've got the low control from BSA, sort of a multi-band compression thing. If you're just compressing everything below 90 hertz, and then that same Landmax limiter. Used it for years on bass and on various other things. I like it. It's a cool little VST, cool little limiter. And then bass number 3. Now this was something I nicked from JP Henry, and actually bass 3 and bass 4, although it says bass 4 and bass 3, but yeah, these two tracks are something that I got from JP Henry, and it's, from what he said, it's sort of an Andy Wallace type technique. So this fourth bass, I think one might be Andy Wallace, one might be, what's the other guy's name? I can't remember off the top of my head. Produced the Nevermind album. You'll be able to tell me in the comments. So, or it might even just be Andy Wallace. Anyway. So I'm using this for the low end. So we're using an 1176 style compressor on there to even it out. And then we're using a pedal board off at the bottom because nothing's getting used on that. Then we're using this Ampeg style amp sim. Now, yes, I have got the one from Brainworks, but at the time when I did this, I'd not re-downloaded it. Otherwise, I probably would have used that. But I've used the inbuilt one. I've got in Studio Pro. It's the one in Ampere. I like what it we're doing. So we've got, I think we're using it on the Ultra is not switched on. Got a bit of a mid boost in there, but we have got the ultra low on, and then we're just boosting a bit of treble and mid range. Then I am using this DF Excite again just to boost these bottom 3 bands. And that same limiter. Now, this fourth bass is really low down in the mix, and I've set this to a stereo channel. So as you can see, I've got it panned out slightly, 40% left and right. It's the same bass DI, and all we're using on there is, we all like one of these boys and girls, a flanger. We all like a good flanger. And yeah, apparently this is an Andy Wallace technique that he uses sometimes just to get a bit of width on the bass, but it is low down in the mix. I'm not sure if Andy Wallace doesn't just has it as a send effect or whether he does it actually on the channel. I've just done it on the channel. So we've got it 100% mix. In fact, this is just a preset. It's a baseline preset. It's synced up to the tempo of the song. And with that flanger on, let me boost it up a bit so you can hear it. Like I say, I've got it quite low down in the mix, because if you have it too much up in the mix, it makes it sound like an obvious effect rather than, if I just take it in and out. It's not doing a great deal, but just adding that little bit just to make the bass move a little bit in the mix, in the stereo field, if you will. And all of them are going off to a bass bus, and we've got no EQ going off on there. Like I say, it's just part of my template, and I'm using the low control, the overall bass, just to compress everything below 90%. 90 hertz even. And that's going off to the bass stems mix. We got the A console. You've seen me use that in other videos. And some EQ, like I said, they're part of my template. The EQ's not being used. There you go, folks. That's how I got that grinding bass tone on When the Guns Fall Silent. Let me know what you think about it. Have you used any of these techniques yourselves? Will you try them out? See if they work in any of your mixers. Yeah, I think I will use this technique at some point in the future, because especially for that sort of death metal sound, I think it works really well, and maybe even on some thrash tracks. That's easy for you to say. But yeah, like I said before, we'll use if you're in a band or you're a solo artist that sort of records all your own stuff, but you don't want to mix it yourself, get in touch. I'm sure we can work a good price out. Like I say, there's links to my website and my email down in the description, so you can take a look at what I've mixed before and we'll listen through my portfolio. Yeah, let me know what you guys think about this. And if you want to grab yourself some Evil Wizard merch,
There's a link to the merch store in the description.
but that's all from me, folks.
And we'll catch you in the next one.
Right, folks, I hope you enjoyed that video. You can follow me on social media and you can get my music online, and if you want to support the channel, there's Buy Me a Coffee and PayPal links. They're all down in the description. Click up here to subscribe and click the link down there for videos that you may not have seen. Keep it loud and keep it heavy.